Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Jim Dodge.
Today, the American baker not only bakes, but gives us his tips as well. That's it, real fast, real fast. Come on, get that baseball arm moving. Oh,
Ok.
okay.
Non c'è ketchup.
No. Già vedi, mi fa la foto.
Basta?
Sì.
Sono molto delicati.
Molto delicato. Grazie a lei.
Grazie Marianne, grazie a voi.
You know, my mother's favorite leftover sandwich. Come on, you're Italian. Isn't this beautiful? Look at how pretty this is. It's delicious. How do you like that? I think you're great. And now we're ready to do the twist. So, looks gorgeous, smells wonderful.
I use my hands.
I love this woman. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to put the rest of these cookies in here that we're going to need. All right, today I promised you a real treat. Jim Dodge, the master baker. It's so wonderful to have you in the kitchen, Jim. And the two of us are going to make cakes today. One using almond paste and the other is going to use almonds, right?
That's right.
Natural almonds. So we're going to start out with a really no-brainer for a cheesecake. We're going to make a crust that uses store-bought cookies, like just a butter cookie. This is a vanilla wafer. You could use whatever you have. I tend to save all my old cookie crumbs, put them in the freezer, and then whenever I have enough, I use them for a crust.
I love that idea.
Yeah, so I have about 6 ounces of cookies in here, butter cookies, and I'm going to use slivered almonds. I know you have taught me that natural almonds have a better flavor, but for this cake, we're going to use the slivered almonds. So you want about 1/3 of a cup of those, and then about 2 tablespoons of sugar. And this is going to be the crust. This is all there is to it. So I just get it into a crumb state. And I'll tell you, I'm really on my toes today, because when you have a master baker in your kitchen like this, you want to make sure that you do everything right. So you want to get that all pulsed up. And then, Jim, down below is a bowl, if you can get a bowl out for me. We want to put this in a bowl, and then we want to add some butter to it. So does that look okay?
It looks perfect.
Okay, so we're going to put that in the bowl. Phew, I hope I pass Baking 101. So now we have some butter, and I want that butter in there to hold this crust together. So I'm going to mix this up with my hands. And you know what? Down below there's a pan, yes, that we're going to put this in, and that's a springform pan. Now, do you like using those darker colored pans? Do you think they're good for baking, or do you like the lighter ones?
Frankly, I don't think it makes any difference.
You don't? Those
No.
don't hold the heat better?
Probably a little bit better. If you have a smaller oven, it would be good. For me, it's just as long as a nice sturdy pan is
Okay.
the key thing.
All right, so I buttered it, but now I'm going to ask you to pat in the crumb crust. So I've got all the butter now mixed in. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to let you play with that.
Okay.
And just pat that down so that we have a crust. And I know you're always telling me you've got to preheat the oven first. Make sure you've got it at the right temperature. So our oven is preheated at 350 degrees, and we're going to bake this crust blind. That means without a filling, right, Jim?
That's right.
We're going to
That's right.
make a blind crust. We're going to bake this for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until it's nice and brown looking. So why don't you go ahead and put that in the oven? Because before you came over, I did a crust. I've got one ready. And let's show them what it looks like. So here is a crust that's all baked, ready to go. And I always say that, you know, besides looking at something, you can tell by smell when something is ready, right?
Particularly in baking.
Particularly in baking. So here's a crust, and it's all ready to go. And now what we're going to do is make the filling. So, Jim, can you pull over that? Oh, this is why it's nice to have a man in the kitchen to handle all this heavy equipment. So I'm going to work with almond paste today, but you're working with almonds. So we're making a ricotta and almond paste cheesecake. Sound good?
It sounds delicious.
And I know that you like to make almond paste. I like to make it from scratch, but you know what? You don't have to, because there are lots of good almond pastes on the market. And let's tell them basically what almond paste is.
just a pulverized almond sugar and a little egg white.
And a little egg white. That's all there is to it. So here I have some commercially prepared almond paste, and I took it out of the can because it comes in a lump like that. You just don't want to plop that whole thing in here. So we need about a cup of almond paste. We broke it up. So why don't you put that in there and get that going, because I got to go to the fridge and get some ricotta cheese, because this uses ricotta. I came up with this recipe one day, Jim, when I had all this prepared almond paste around. I didn't know what to do with it, and I thought maybe this would make a good cake with ricotta cheese. So I don't know about you, but when I buy ricotta, I try to buy a really good brand, something that has a really creamy flavor. And when I get it home, I want to drain it off so that I get that extra water off of this, because I don't want this cake to be too dry. So let's get that almond paste going. It's really going around in a ball. I'm going to break that up again because now we need to add the eggs to this. So we've got 4 eggs, 4 whole eggs, and we're going to add those a little bit at a time. How am I doing?
You're doing great.
Am I doing okay?
Yeah, nice and steady there with the eggs.
You know, I read your books all the time, so I get a lot of tips.
Oh, thank you.
I kind of claim some of your things as my own. You know, it's okay.
Well, that's a compliment.
Is that okay?
That's wonderful.
All right, so the eggs have broken up the almond paste. I want to get that creamy now. And now we can add the ricotta cheese. You want to put it in?
Sure.
Just put it in there. You need a...
Yeah.
Here you go. Get it in there. It's all nice and dry.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Isn't that nice? And this is going to make a really delicious, creamy cake. Okay, so now we can get that going. And then what we need is some half and half. It's going to kind of loosen up this batter. You could use low-fat half and half if you wanted to. So in goes the half and half. You want about a cup. Try not to get your shirt splattered while you're doing this. So there goes the half and half. And one thing I have learned from you is that you must always stop the machine and wipe down the sides of the bowl to make sure that everything is well incorporated. Am I right?
You're right. Well
okay.
done.
Phew, so far. Now we have sugar. What about, a half a cup of sugar goes in. And how about throwing in that salt?
Okay.
So a little salt. Give me the orange peel. That goes in, orange zest.
Nice and finely grated.
Yeah, and that's going to give a nice little orangey flavor to this. And then a 1/4 cup of flour just to hold everything together. Simple. That's all there is to it. All right, now we can put that, let's put that on the back counter because we're done with that. Now this can go into our crust. And remember, when you take the crust out, you want to cool it down, so that, you know, you're not putting the filling into something that's hot, because then it'll just make it too soggy. Okay, so now we can take this filling out. And this is going to go in a, I'm telling you, I have experimented with more. Want to put that in the sink?
Yes.
Cheesecakes. And here's what I have found. I have found that if you bake the cheesecake at 325 degrees, a lower temperature, the less likelihood it is that the top is going to crack. So that's my tip for the day for you. So I'm going to bake this at 325, but we could also do this to ensure a really nice texture. You could bake this in a water bath, right?
Yes.
We could put it in a water bath and it would have a wonderful, wonderful velvety texture, but it's going to be good this way too. All right, this goes into the bottom oven. So in it goes. And 325, about 45 minutes later, we'll go back and check. All right, so now what are we doing?
Now we're going to make my lemon and almond cake with olive oil.
Let me check the counter here because I don't want guests in the kitchen where they have to work around a sloppy environment. All right. Okay, what do we need for this?
Well, we're going to need the food processor.
All right, I'll get that back over here for you.
And as you said, some of the most important things when you're making a cake is to make sure that you have your pan ready.
Okay.
And I'm also using a springform pan. And what I'm going to do is just spray the bottoms and the side with a regular baking spray.
Those are good, aren't they?
They are.
They save a lot of time.
And clean, not as messy.
Yeah.
And then I have a parchment circle that's just cut a little bit smaller then the inside of the pan, I'm pressing it against the side so that the bottom gets covered with the oil. And then I just flip it over.
Good tip.
And put it back in. And that way I know it's not going to stick. So
Okay.
we have that ready. The second thing is to make sure that your oven's preheated.
Okay, what temp are we cooking this at?
350. If you have a
350.
convection oven,
Yep.
you always bake a lower temperature, 25 degrees lower. So that would be 325. A lot of people
Okay.
have convection ovens now.
I'm not crazy about convection myself, Jim, but that's okay. Okay, go ahead. Now what?
Okay, so we're going to start by processing the natural almonds. That means with the skin. And I like to use these because they have more flavor. And they also add a little bit more color to the cake. So we'll
Okay.
add those
Almonds
with
go
our
in.
sugar.
Yeah.
And we'll add the top.
Okay, the top goes on.
And then we're just going to process this. I'll let
Wait a
you
minute. Okay.
turn it on.
Tell me when.
I think we can just leave it on for a while.
Leave it on? All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay, I think we're done.
All right.
And usually you can tell just by the color on the side, and that looks good. So
Okay,
let's
now.
add the rest of the ingredients. We have
All
the
right.
cornmeal,
Okay.
the flour,
Now, is that
Baking-
just all-purpose?
just regular unbleached all-purpose flour.
Okay.
That was baking powder and some salt. And now I'll let you process that.
Again. Okay.
Again.
All right. Well, there we go. You tell me when.
That's it, just until it's blended. We
Beautiful.
can set that aside.
All righty.
And you know, it's a little uneven, but that's okay. Most of it,
You're gonna mix it
we're
in,
going to
right?
mix it. So now we're going to start with the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to begin with a big bowl and 2 eggs. And what I wanted to let you know, the best way to select eggs is to, first of all, make sure they're cold when you buy them. Open up the carton and look at the shell. It should feel firm. There should be no cracks. If it feels delicate and frail, go to another carton.
Now, should an egg also feel heavy?
Yes, it should.
Yes,
be
it should
heavy.
feel heavy, because
Yeah.
then you know that there's a good amount of yolk and egg
That's
white
right.
in
That's
there, right?
Good ratio.
Okay.
So I'm going to crack this egg in.
You probably have your own fresh eggs where in San Francisco, where he lives. You have your own eggs, don't you?
We have a good source there. And what you look for in the egg is that the yolk is nice and round.
Right. Those
and
look
the
good.
white is beveled, and these look very good. So I'm just going to whisk these
Yeah.
to blend the white with the yolk. And then once that's done, I can stir in the olive oil.
So, you know, I noticed that you're baking with olive oil too. You know, I've done this before in other programs that I've showed people that you could bake with olive oil. But are you using olive oil here exclusively, or could you use butter?
No, you could use butter,
You
but
could.
for the recipe, I would melt the butter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's the same amount.
But I'm glad that you like to bake with olive oil too. I think it's I think it makes everything moister, don't you?
It does, and it lends such a beautiful
Look at the
fruit
color of that,
flavor.
yeah.
And now I'm going to add the milk.
Okay.
So you can see we're adding all the liquids.
And for these recipes, you can go to the Ciao Italia website and get them, and you can try them at home. Okay, so now what?
Pure vanilla extract.
Which should have 35% alcohol. You taught me that.
That's right. And I like to add the flavorings, the extracts, always where the fat is, because fat is a vehicle for flavor.
So you add it towards with all the fatty things.
With all the fatty things. So
Ah.
it will amplify those flavors.
That's a good thing to know.
Okay, so now we just need the fresh lemon juice.
Fresh lemon juice. Okay.
And I'm also using the rind.
The rind
here.
of the lemon, the
Yeah.
zest.
We'll just stir that
This
in.
is good.
And now we're ready to add the dry ingredients. You want to
Okay, yep,
loosen that
okay,
bowl?
I will.
And if you dump it in, I'll stir.
Okay. Gently, or do you want it all at once?
You can dump it all at
all
once.
at once. See how easy this is?
It's a very, very easy cake.
Okay. That's it. That's all of it.
And you see how thin it is? Don't be alarmed. Some people, when they first make this, they think, oh, I must have made a mistake. But this is exactly how it's supposed to be.
So it should be thin like that.
Nice and thin.
Yeah.
And now we can just pour it into our prepared pan.
Okay. And because that's thin and you're using a springform pan, there's no chance of that leaking, is there?
No, no.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the body from the egg, there really isn't a problem.
Okay,
at all.
I'll take that, yeah.
And then this is ready to go into the oven.
Okay, so that's going into the oven.
And
but
this bakes about 45 minutes.
okay, but if you were worried about leakage, you could put it on a bake pan, couldn't you?
You could, yes.
Sit your baking pan right on a bake sheet, and then you can put it in the oven. All right, so now you were telling me about the trick that you use when you're going to decorate this cake, because we have a cake that you did, and let's show them what that looks like. Like you say, it is not a high cake at all.
No, and what I like about it is because it's low, it's dense, it's very moist, very flavorful, but I can cover it with fresh fruit.
Any kind of fresh fruit, yeah.
Any kind. Today we're going to use strawberries, but I like to use mixed berries. Pitted fresh cherries are fantastic. I just toss them with a little orange juice, put the cherries in the juice, it goes into the cake. It's really very nice, easy to bring to friend's house to contribute to a meal. But we're going to wash the berries now. And I have a simple way of doing it, because sometimes, particularly after it's rained, the berries can be covered with sand. And you want to, of course, get that sand off so you don't have the grit on your teeth.
Right, nothing worse.
So we need a bowl of cold water. You just drop the berries in, let them float, and it just flushes them. And then I lift them up, put them back on this towel, and then I'm just going to pat them dry.
So you could do this with raspberries, blackberries, where you have a delicate fruit, you don't want to put them under the faucet and have them all smushed. While you're doing that, I'm going to check the oven, because I smell that crust. I have to go check that oven.
All right.
Oh.
And the top of this cake, Mary Ann, is just a little sticky, which is perfect.
Wow.
Oh, that smells wonderful.
It's done already. How easy is that? Okay.
So I'm going to now start to decorate it.
So these are going to stay on the cake without putting any kind of a glaze or anything there to hold it?
That's right, because of the moisture in the cake comes to the surface, and particularly when it cools, so the little skin gets a little sticky.
Okay, so.
And I've left the stems on because they're nice and green, and I'm just going to arrange them around the edge. And when you're decorating on a round surface with fruit or anything, you always make the perimeter first.
This is good to know.
So just go around the edge here. And you can see how much color that really adds. It makes it very festive.
And it's really effortless to make, so that, you know, when you're serving this for company or you're bringing it to someone, it looks like, you know, you've spent so much time in the kitchen. Well, that looks beautiful.
Now for the center, I hull the berries. And instead of just cutting it, hacking it right off, I like to do this because you can see that it retains the shape and the beauty of the berries. These just go straight down. Oh. And again, I'm going to go around in a ring in the second circle. And we just tuck them in there as close as we can.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
then when you cut into this, you want to cut along the sides of the berries, or what?
Yeah, usually that's why I put the big ones on the outside. That's one slice. And then we can just put one more in the middle for decoration.
Well, I guess that's why you're the master. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, not to be outdone, I happen to have a cheesecake in the fridge.
Oh, I see.
Let me get it for you and show you what it looks like. Oh, yes, who doesn't like cheesecake?
It's beautiful.
Now, there it is, all unmolded, and you see it doesn't have too many fissures in it, because I know where you live, there are lots of earthquakes, and that's not what you want in a cheesecake,
no,
right?
It's difficult to cut.
Okay, so I'm going to give you another one to decorate, because here's what I like to do with this. These are apricots, and you know, almonds are in the apricot family. And apricots have just a natural little line there, so when you cut them, you just cut and twist, and you see the apricot comes right out. And if you look at that pit, you recognize it as being in the almond family, bitter almonds. So I'm going to have you decorate this cake, but a little trick that I use is to cut the fruit and then put them in lemon juice. You know, just dip them in lemon juice. So these have all been dipped.
Okay.
So again, I don't know if you want to go around the outside, if you want to go...
I think I'm going to go here. And notice what I'm doing. The thinner pointy part goes towards the center.
Towards the center. Well, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
I hope I cut enough. But if I didn't, you can space them out.
You can. Or another thing I do is just make little fans.
Yeah, tell us those tricks. Don't keep them to yourself now.
Like a deck of cards.
Okay, a deck of cards. I like that idea. Yeah.
Fan them and put them on in clusters like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Could we use a little mint on this, too?
I think a mint would be beautiful.
All right, so you put the clusters on, and I've got a little bit of mint here. It's just amazing what you can do with simple things that you have in the grocery store. You don't have to be a trained pastry chef or baker in order to get something nice that you're proud that you have made in your own kitchen, right?
That's right.
Okay, so here are some mint leaves. I don't know what you want to do with those. Put them somewhere nice.
I think I'm just going to stick them.
Okay, let me
on the
get you a
side
few
like
more.
this.
That looks
Yeah,
pretty,
I think
very
that
pretty.
complements the apricots.
Okay, here's a few
Okay.
more. Any other tricks about cheesecake? How about tricks for cutting cheesecake? I always put a knife in cold water and then wipe off the knife in between cutting each slice.
The water is very important. Actually, I like a thin knife.
A thin knife,
Yeah.
okay.
And in fact, a Chinese cleaver works very, very well.
Okay, a
'Cause
Chinese cleaver.
Chinese cleaver, because it
I'm
has
learning
a
all
nice
kinds of things today.
thin, straight blade. And when you use like a French knife, it's so wide it pushes the cake when you're cutting it.
So a Chinese cleaver.
And
Well,
in the cold water, like you say, that works very well.
fabulous. Doesn't that look beautiful? You've got the cheesecake made with the almond paste and this cornmeal olive oil cake made with natural almonds. You can come to my kitchen anytime.
Thank you.
So there you have it. 2 great desserts, one from me and one from America's favorite baker. Jim, that cake looks fabulous that you made, but I want you to try a piece of this cheesecake. So now you're showing us how you cut it. Remember, you said to put the knife into cold water.
That's right, and a thin knife.
And
to
a
cut.
thin, oh, look at
And
this.
see how I cradle it with the
Yep.
knife, comes right off.
Oh my gosh, that looks, doesn't that look gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
And you are getting the first bite because I want approval from the master. So,
I've been waiting for this.
creamy, good.
I love the almond in it.
You're not just saying that, are you?
I'm taking a second bite.
Okay. Remember, that was the cake we made with the almond paste and the ricotta cheese, and we put it in a simple cookie crust. And then, Jim, you made this fabulous cake. You want to tell everybody what's in it?
It's very easy. It's just whole eggs, almond flour, and cornmeal, and the secret ingredient, olive oil.
Olive oil, and then you just decorated it with fresh fruit over the top. Well, you know, I think this deserves a nice moscato.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for coming to my kitchen.
pleasure.
Oh, revered teacher. Chin chin.
Chin chin.
And until I see you nella cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Jim Dodge.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Today I'm in Lecce, which is often called the Florence of the South, and I'm standing in front of this very Baroque church, which is called Santa Croce, the Holy Cross. And if you look at the front of it, it is so ornately decorated. It reminds me of, I don't know, a wedding cake, but it tells the history of the church and of Italy on its facade. Very interesting.
By the way.